There is something incredibly powerful about the way pain, once overcome, can become a source of inspiration and hope for others. Often, the struggles we go through are not just about us. They are about who we are meant to become and how our experiences will serve others in their time of need. When you allow Allah to heal your heart, when you patiently bear your hardship and come through it with faith intact, you emerge not only stronger but also with a story that can heal others. Your healing becomes a light in someone else's darkness. What once made you weep can become the very reason someone else doesn't give up. Every person has a unique journey. Some people experience deep loss, others endure betrayal, illness, financial hardship, loneliness, or emotional breakdowns. But those who go through these trials and choose to rise through them, those who hold on to Allah and rebuild their lives with His help, carry with them a quiet strength that becomes a beacon of guidance for others. They don't need to preach. Their presence alone, their peace, their resilience, their gentleness speaks volumes. People look at them and wonder how someone who has gone through so much can still smile, can still be kind, can still carry themselves with such grace. And the answer is simple. Allah healed them, and now their healing is a mercy to those around them. You may not realize it now, but someone out there is praying for a sign, a reason to hold on, a voice that says you are not alone. And your story, your pain, your survival could be that reason. Sometimes Allah allows you to go through deep hardship so you can become a source of hope and guidance for another person who will walk a similar path. You will understand their pain in a way no one else can. You'll be able to say, I know what that feels like, and I promise you will get through it. That kind of empathy, that kind of wisdom can't be taught. It can only be lived. When you begin to heal through Allah, you are filled with compassion, with perspective, and with purpose. You start to understand that your test was not in vain. It was a process of purification and preparation. You are being prepared to lead, to uplift, to guide, even if it's just by example. Your healing has a ripple effect. It touches people without you even realizing it. A quiet act of patience, a comforting word, a silent dua for someone in pain. All of these come from a heart that has known struggle and found peace through faith. This doesn't mean that you won't remember your pain or that it won't still sting from time to time. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means being able to live without being controlled by the pain. It means being able to reflect on your journey and feel grateful for how Allah carried you through it. It means being able to give back, not because you're obligated, but because you understand how important it is. You know how much it would have meant if someone had given you a kind word, a helping hand, or simply reminded you that Allah never abandons His servants. And so, you become that person for someone else. What a beautiful purpose to be used by Allah as a means of mercy for others. To know that your suffering wasn't wasted. To witness how your lowest wounds became your highest calling. Your proof that broken hearts can heal. That wounded souls can recover. And that pain, when surrendered to Allah, becomes a source of immense power and influence. So never hide your journey. Don't be ashamed of what you've been through. Let people see how Allah pulled you from the depths and placed you in a position of strength. Let your scars speak of His mercy, because your healing is not just your victory. It is a gift to the world. Trusting Allah when everything around you feels uncertain is one of the most difficult yet powerful acts of faith a believer can perform. It's easy to have trust when life is going your way, when your du'as are being answered quickly, and when the path ahead is clear. But the real test of faith comes when you are surrounded by confusion, fear, unanswered prayers, and silence. It's in those moments when your trust is no longer based on what you see, but on what you believe about Allah. And when you choose to trust Him, even when nothing makes sense, you are opening the door for unimaginable blessings and strength to enter your life. There will be times when you look at your situation and feel like it's not fair. You may feel like your efforts are going unnoticed. Your prayers are being delayed, and your heart is being tested beyond its limits. You may ask questions that have no immediate answers. Why is this happening to me? Why now? Why like this? These are real emotions, and they are valid. But in the midst of all those questions, there's one truth that remains. Allah never makes mistakes. His plans are perfect, even if you don't understand them right now. Trusting Allah doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you believe that He does. You trust that He sees the full picture, that He knows what you don't, and that He is working behind the scenes in ways you can't see. Sometimes the delay is protecting you. Sometimes the heartbreak is re-tearing you. Sometimes the heartbreak is redirecting you towards something far better. But all of that requires faith. Faith that Allah is more merciful than you can comprehend and more wise than you can imagine. There's a kind of peace that only comes when you stop trying to figure everything out and just say, Ya Allah, I trust you. Those 4 words carry more weight than you realize. They mean you've accepted that your knowledge is limited, but His isn't. That you don't need to know the outcome because you know who controls it. That even when you're in pain, you believe something good will come from it. That kind of surrender is not weakness. It is the highest form of spiritual strength. There's a verse in the Quran that brings great comfort during uncertain times. And whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him. Allah is enough. This world may disappoint you. People may let you down. Your plans may collapse. But Allah will never fail you. When you rely on Him with full trust, you begin to walk through life with a sense of security, knowing that even if things don't go your way, they are still going according to His way, and His way is always better. Sometimes Allah withholds what you want, not to punish you, but to teach you how to fully rely on Him. He might break your plans to protect your soul. He might close doors to open better ones. And in the process, you become someone who doesn't just believe in Allah, but someone who trusts Him completely. That level of trust changes how you think, how you react, and how you live. You stop living in anxiety and start living in tawakkul, reliance on Allah. It's important to remember that trusting Allah doesn't mean you won't feel sadness or fear. It means you don't let those emotions control your faith. You still cry, but you cry to Allah. You still worry, but you turn your worry into dua. You still feel pain, but you use that pain to bring you closer to your Creator. That's the beauty of true reliance. It transforms your struggles into spiritual strength. So when you find yourself lost, confused, or overwhelmed, pause and remind yourself, Allah brought you this far, and He won't leave you now. Hold on to that trust, even if it's just by a thread, because in that thread lies the beginning of your healing, your growth, and your transformation. Trust Him, even when you don't understand the path, because He is the one who created it. There is a deep wisdom in how Allah allows pain to transform us from within. When you're in the middle of a trial, it might seem like nothing good can come from it. The pain feels heavy, the confusion overwhelming, and the future uncertain. But as time passes and you continue to hold on to your faith, something remarkable happens. You begin to change. What once felt like your greatest weakness slowly becomes your greatest strength. What once seemed like a curse begins to reveal itself as a hidden blessing. This is the quiet miracle of transformation that happens when you let Allah guide you through your pain. Often, we measure our strength by our ability to avoid hardship or to remain unshaken by life's challenges. But in reality, true strength is built in the storm. The people who appear the strongest in their faith are usually the ones who've experienced the deepest wounds. They've cried in sujood, begged Allah in isolation, endured sleepless nights, and yet still chose to believe in His mercy. Their strength wasn't instant. It was built in silence, in tears, in the long, hard moments when no one else was watching. And it's this strength that Allah plants within your soul through every trial you go through. Your pain can become your power. You stop seeing it as something meant to destroy you and start seeing it as something that can develop you. Every disappointment you faced, every closed door, every loss or betrayal has the potential to unlock a new layer of wisdom, patience, and faith within you. The test isn't just about enduring, it's about evolving. With each struggle, Allah is refining your character, increasing your resilience, and teaching you how to rely solely on Him. And once you've been through enough trials, your heart starts to recognize a divine pattern. The more you surrender to Allah, the stronger you become. Transformation through pain doesn't mean the situation becomes easier. It means you become stronger. The pain doesn't always go away, but you learn to carry it differently. You stop being controlled by fear, by sadness, or by the opinions of others. Instead, you become centered in your connection with Allah. You trust that He sees the bigger picture, that He knows what's best, and that He never tests without purpose. That trust becomes your anchor. It allows you to move through life with more courage and less fear, because you know that even if you fall, Allah will catch you. Sometimes the very reason why Allah allows you to go through hardship is to awaken a power within you that would have otherwise remained hidden. You might discover your voice, your patience, your purpose, or your ability to help others. People who have been through pain have a unique light in them, a wisdom that can't be taught, only lived. And often it's through your pain that you gain the power to uplift others. Your story, once a source of sorrow, becomes a source of strength for those who are struggling. Your healing becomes their hope. It is through hardship that the heart becomes softer, the dua becomes deeper, and the soul becomes more sincere. You begin to seek Allah, not just out of routine, but out of need, out of love, out of longing, and in that intimacy you find peace that no material comfort can offer. That is when the transformation is complete, not when the pain disappears, but when the pain becomes your teacher, your strength, and your pathway to Allah. Never underestimate what Allah can do with a broken heart that turns to Him. The pain you're going through right now is not the end of your story. It might just be the beginning of your greatest chapter. Let the pain shape you, but let Allah define you. Through His mercy, your hardship will become your honor, your struggle will become your strength, and your pain will become your power. One of the most profound realizations a believer can have is that being tested is not a sign of rejection from Allah, but rather a sign of His love and attention. Many people mistakenly associate ease and comfort with divine favor, and hardship with divine displeasure. But if we look at the lives of the prophets, the most beloved people to Allah, we find that they endured some of the greatest trials known to mankind. From Prophet Ayub's physical suffering, to Prophet Yusuf's betrayal and imprisonment, to Prophet Muhammad's loss of family, persecution, and immense responsibility. Each of them was tested, not because they were weak or flawed, but because they were chosen. Through their struggles, Allah raised them, purified them, and brought them closer to Him. When Allah loves a person, He refines them through tests. Just like gold is purified through fire, the soul is purified through hardship. These tests are not to break you, but to build you. Allah wants to remove what is harmful, cleanse what is impure, and strengthen what is weak inside of you. Every hardship is tailor-made for your heart, designed to teach you something you could never learn in comfort. It might be patience, humility, gratitude, resilience, or trust in Allah's plan. And with every lesson comes spiritual elevation, a reward from Allah that is far greater than the trial itself. The Prophet Muhammad said, "When Allah loves a servant, He tests him." This hadith is not just a statement, it's a roadmap. It teaches us that instead of fearing trials, we should see them as an opportunity. Every pain, every difficulty, every disappointment could be a means of earning Allah's closeness and mercy. In fact, some people would never have tasted true faith or experienced sincere dua if it weren't for the hardships they went through. The pain turned them to Allah in a way nothing else could. That alone is a blessing in disguise. We often seek to avoid pain at all costs. But pain has a sacred role in the life of a believer. It makes the heart more sincere, the prayers more intense, and the bond with Allah more real. In ease we may forget, but in hardship we remember. And sometimes that remembrance is all we need to return to our purpose. A test can redirect you to the straight path. It can open your eyes to what really matters. It can purify your intentions and remind you that this world is temporary, and your ultimate goal is the eternal hereafter. Some people emerge from trials more bitter and closed off, while others come out stronger, more peaceful, and more connected to their Creator. The difference is not in the intensity of the pain, but in how they respond to it. When you view your test as a sign of Allah's love, it changes everything. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is Allah trying to teach me through this?" That shift in perspective alone is a spiritual breakthrough. You stop seeing your pain as a curse and start seeing it as a divine gift, a painful yet beautiful opportunity to grow. It is also important to remember that no pain lasts forever. Allah is al-Latif, the most gentle. He tests, but He also heals. He wounds, but He also mends. And when He mends a heart, He does so in ways that are beyond your imagination. The same test that made you cry today might be the reason you smile tomorrow. And when you look back, you'll realize that your suffering was not in vain. It was part of a bigger picture, a picture of growth, transformation, and spiritual closeness to Allah. So when you are tested, know that Allah is near. Know that this trial is not random. It is a sign of His care, a mark of your potential, and a step towards something greater. Embrace it with patience. Respond with prayer, and trust that Allah never burdens a soul beyond what it can bear. Through that pain, you are being shaped, purified, and prepared for something beautiful, both in this life and the next. In life, we are often taught to seek comfort in people, in things, in distractions that temporarily numb the pain we feel. But sooner or later, we realize that these sources of comfort are limited. People cannot always understand what we're going through, and even when they try to help, their efforts sometimes fall short. This is because the human heart, with all its complexities and wounds, was created by Allah, and only He truly understands how to heal it. No one knows your story better than the one who wrote it. No one understands your pain more than the one who created your heart. When you allow yourself to turn away from temporary fixes and go directly to the source, to Allah, that is when the real healing begins. People often delay their healing because they are too busy trying to be strong on their own. They wear a smile when they're hurting inside. They pretend to be fine while their soul is breaking. But Allah does not want you to hide your pain from Him. He wants you to bring it to Him. He wants you to kneel down in prayer, let the tears flow, and tell Him everything. The act of surrendering your pain is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of trust. When you trust that Allah hears you, sees you, and will respond to you in His perfect timing, that is when the chains of sorrow start to loosen. Letting Allah heal you is not about immediate solutions. It is not always about your problems disappearing right away. Sometimes the situation remains the same, but you begin to change. You begin to see your trial differently. Your heart becomes lighter. Your chest feels less tight. Your mind becomes calmer. This is the subtle power of Allah's healing. He replaces fear with peace, sorrow with hope, and confusion with clarity. He gives you a light in the darkness that no one else can provide. That's why the most powerful healing starts not with an external change, but an internal shift. And that shift comes when you turn to Allah with complete sincerity. The Quran is filled with reminders of this. Allah says, "Verily in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest." That is not a poetic phrase, it is a divine truth. When you are overwhelmed by life, by loss, by fear, by grief, the remembrance of Allah becomes the anchor that keeps you steady. Sometimes you don't even need to say much. A silent tear, a quiet, "Ya Allah Imra," or just placing your forehead on the ground in sujood with a broken heart. That's enough to start the process. That moment of vulnerability in front of your Lord is more powerful than any therapy session or comforting words from others, because He knows what you need even before you ask. There is no shame in being broken. There is no shame in needing help. And there is no shame in turning to Allah with all your pain and asking Him to fix what's shattered. In fact, that is the most honorable thing you can do, to go to the one who can actually bring peace to your storm. Life will continue to throw challenges your way, but once you've experienced what it feels like to let Allah heal you, you'll never again look for peace in the wrong places. You'll know where your true refuge is. You'll know that even in the midst of chaos, there is calmness to be found in sincere prayer. So let go of trying to control everything. Let go of the need to appear perfect. Let Allah heal you. Give Him your worries, your grief, your brokenness, and trust that what He gives in return will be far greater than anything you ever lost. Because His healing isn't just about mending the heart. It's about transforming your entire soul. When we talk about pain, it is not merely the physical kind that we refer to. Emotional and spiritual pain can be even more consuming than physical wounds. There are moments in life when the heart feels heavy, when the soul feels abandoned, and the eyes weep in secret. Yet, it is in those very moments of despair that the seeds of healing are planted by the will of Allah. Many people misunderstand pain. They assume that hardship is a punishment, that suffering means they've done something wrong. But in reality, pain is not always a sign of divine anger. Often it is the opposite. It is a sign of divine attention, a sign that Allah is turning your heart toward Him in a way comfort never could. Life has a way of breaking us all at some point. We face loss, heartbreak, betrayal, disappointment, loneliness, and fear. But one of the greatest realizations you can come to is that this breaking point is actually a turning point. It is an invitation from Allah. When Allah tests us with pain, it is not to harm us, it is to transform us. Every tear, every sleepless night, every moment you feel like giving up is being recorded by the one who sees and knows all. Allah is not unaware of your suffering. He is closer to you than anyone else in those moments of weakness. He knows the exact weight your heart is carrying and how hard you're trying to hold on. Sometimes the pain is prolonged, it stretches over months, maybe even years, and you start to wonder when relief will come. But the beauty of turning to Allah in pain is that the healing begins the moment you surrender. When you say, Ya Allah, I can't do this without you, you've already taken the first step toward healing. It's in the sujood where your tears fall silently, in the late night du'as whispered in desperation, that your soul begins to repair. The burden doesn't disappear overnight, but your strength grows. The pain may still be there, but it begins to lose its power over you. Pain breaks down the illusions we've built, the false belief that we are in control, that we don't need help, that we can do it all alone. It humbles the heart. It forces us to our knees. And in that humility, there is a closeness to Allah that cannot be found anywhere else. Pain makes the heart more sincere, more focused, more desperate for Allah's mercy. And it is in that desperation that your prayers become more powerful than ever before. You're no longer just repeating words. You're pouring your soul into every plea. Allah loves the broken-hearted who come back to Him. He is the healer of hearts. When no one else understands what you're going through, He does. And when you think you have nothing left, that's when He fills you with something greater than you had before. You may not see it now, but this pain is shaping you. It's carving strength into your bones, patience into your heart, wisdom into your mind, and light into your soul. You will come out of this, not the same, but stronger, wiser, and more connected to your Creator. This pain you feel right now is temporary, but what it teaches you and how it changes you will remain with you forever. And in the end, you will realize that what felt like a breaking was actually a blessing, because it brought you to Allah in a way ease never could. That's the beginning of healing. And that is the point where your pain begins to become your power.